it's a small area compared to other sectors, but it is a sector, the gaming sector, that is really taking the bull by the horns and actually doing something proactive.
Hey, how are you?
I'm very well, mate. Yourself? Good to see you again.
Yeah, you too. I'm really looking forward to this one because we met last week down in London, and I think in respect to like what you're trying to do, I think that there's a great episode to be had from you. But before we dive into the detail of Gratitude, let's talk a little bit more about who you are, what you do, and why.
Right. So my name's Craig. I'm the founder and CEO of Gratitude. What we do, we give cash back from in-game purchases redirected to charitable organisations such as Born Free, Shark Trust, etc., helping the gaming industry offset carbon emissions. And with obviously the gaming industry's energy usage is huge, as a lot of industries are, but the sort of average gamer uses 1,400 kilowatt hours of energy per year. 3.24 billion gamers. That's an awful lot of energy being used. So, it's actually the equivalent of the whole of the United States energy usage every year. So we came up with the concept, basically my children spending ridiculous amounts of money on Robux and FIFA, Fortnite, and me coming from the financial sector, I was sort of looking at it thinking, right, how can we redirect this money from intangible products, intangible purchases into something tangible? And that's where we came up with the concept of Gratitude.
Amazing. So you said you came from a financial background. Can you tell me a little bit more about your background?
Yeah, so I was a wealth manager at St James's Place, one of the UK's largest asset management companies, which was a brilliant time. Left there and basically was redoing up my house. We bought a new house and I had time on my hands and sort of decided to sort of look into the gaming side of things from the perspective of a parent. And that's where, I decided to sort of work on Gratitude. But it was the idea from the wealth management side that possibly being able to invest some cash back for children, individuals, for their future on money that they're spending on something they really enjoy, which is online gaming.
So I guess that's like how the concept of Gratitude was conceived, but how are you helping the games industry at the moment in respect to green actions and energy usage?
So what we're doing is we're providing cash back. So it actually comes from the gaming companies, redistributed back to the beneficiaries, which are ESG aligned. We align with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And how it works is we donate the money on behalf of the user. It offsets carbon emissions for the gaming companies, which is helping them, obviously. We report back to them, which they can then use in their own reporting, financial reporting, etc. We've designed it around basically helping these gaming companies get green credentials and immediate impact. There's a lot of things out there that people are trying to do, like planting trees, etc. We do that. We know we plant a tree for every subscriber to Gratitude, but it's a long-term action. So trees take 10 to 20 years to mature. 50% of them, on average, don't reach maturity. So they're either eaten or they die. So it's a long-term plan. But what we do is we provide these gaming companies with immediate action. So we have projects on Gratitude that, say, for instance, like Shark Trust, they'll provide us with a project and you can see how much of that project has been funded in real time.
Yes, it's interesting as well because, obviously, I'm from a bit of a gaming background myself. I used to work at EA, and looking at, even some of the availability in respect to government grants and support, for example. So when we were there, I'm pretty sure it's still the case. Places like France, they gave huge incentives to businesses, especially within the games industry, to ultimately build out a studio base within France. But then equally, I see recently I was reading that a lot is tied towards sustainability as well. So I guess this is the perfect timing for you guys, right?
Exactly, yeah. So we were at Gamescom in Cologne a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking with several trade bodies out there, one of them being SNJV, the French trade body for the gaming industry. And they get grants to develop games, but they'll be removing those grants in the next 18 months to 2 years if those games or companies haven't got a sustainable edge to them or a sustainable action. So they're very interested in sort of chatting with us and discussing how we can help them and integrate with them to give them those green credentials.
Yeah, amazing. So, like you mentioned, Gamescom. I guess this was probably the first time out there, right? How did you enjoy the craziness?
It was. You know, we weren't ready for it, to tell you the truth. How on the scale of it, it was enormous. So I think we got dropped off there. I think it was like 10 in the morning. We didn't reach our destination of the business area until about 11:30, just through walking. I think we'd done our 10,000 steps by the time we reached the business area. It was absolutely huge, but it was a real eye opener. There was every company you could think of in the gaming industry. So we spent a lot of time at the UK stand, the UK Interactive Entertainment stand, which is a trade body for the UK. And just them alone had 76 companies within that stand. So it just goes to show how big it was. I think the Colonnades in Cologne, where the event was held, is actually about 4 times the size of the Excel in London. But yeah, it was phenomenal. There's a whole consumer side of it. There's 3 levels on each floor, 10 different areas. It was an amazing event to be at, and the connections we made were phenomenal. It's an ideal place for startups and people like us to go and meet different companies, introduce yourself. Everyone's very welcoming. It was probably one of the best event we've been to so far, without doubt.
Yeah, it'd be interesting as well when like E3 opens up next year, because obviously it was closed out this year. But yeah, that's that's another behemoth.
Yeah, I think there was like 380,000 people there over the 4 days. I mean, we went to develop it earlier in the year in June, I think it was, and there were 3,000 people there, and that was a busy event.
It's a great industry though, and like the people are just phenomenal. They're all like very collaborative, and that's the best thing about the gaming industry, because not only are they doing amazing things at the moment, they're kind of keen to have discussions with other people about what their businesses are doing and how they may support one another. I guess, like, talking about discussions, what's the year ahead look like for you, and like who you're in discussions with and who you're hoping to kind of work with in this short, medium, and long term?
Yeah, so we're in discussions with Yuki, you know, the gaming trade body for the UK. We're very involved with them. Just saying what you were saying, you know, how accommodating these people are. It's coming from the wealth management side. It is bizarre how welcoming and, you know, interactive everybody is in the gaming industry. It is like a big family. It's great. But we're in talks with several gaming companies, smaller gaming companies, larger gaming companies, such as EA, Ubisoft. We've got a discussion with Nick Hunsinger, who's the sustainability director at Ubisoft, beginning of next month, to discuss gratitude. We're in discussions with EA as well, a couple of guys over there. So, yeah, we're looking to hopefully, you know, scale next year, within sort of the early part of next year. So it's exciting times for us at the moment. Just getting crossing all the T's and dotting all the I's. We should be somewhere there.
Yeah, exactly. And you haven't been going for very long. So it's crazy the scope that you've already got to. It's like it's a quick journey, right?
It has. It's been very quick. I mean, I came up with the concept in 2019. Basically, didn't have the money to accelerate what we were doing. So in January 2020, I joined an accelerator, a company called Hyper, who were absolutely brilliant. And it was a 6-month accelerator. They got us to a point where we were able to gain investment. So we gained investment last year, so then we could take on a few staff and get the development going properly with the development company. Yeah, since then it's literally, the traction's phenomenal. We've just been talking to so many people. We weren't actually considering like the esports side of things, but I attended ES Insider with a guy called Sam Cook, and there are other people there, and he invited me along to a sustainability roundtable, and the connections we made there were amazing. That's an area now that we really are sort of concentrating on as well. It's the esports. There was a couple of things on this morning about how, you know, the esports industry needs to do a lot more to be sustainable. It's not as it's well established as the traditional gaming sector. So yeah, they're looking to do good things as well, which is great.
Yeah, exactly. And when you talk about they need to do a lot more from a sustainability side, like what advantages would people get for kind of creating that partnership with Gratitude?
Well, what it is, we basically just a plug-in. So a gaming company or would be able to just literally we'd be able to plug into their game and provide them with the sustainability issues that they require. Also, we're in talks with a lot of esports teams, competitions and tournament organisers. So we'd be able to help them spread the word and be able to get, the sustainability side out there. We was also talking to them whilst we was there at the round table about providing them with means of travel and sustainable ways of travel to these events. So we went to, like I said, to Cologne, and it was a bit of a last minute thing. So we booked flights, and we were discussing it with Joe Twist, who's the CEO of Yuki, and they took the train, and it took us 7.5 hours to fly door to door, and it took Joe 6.5 hours. And obviously half the price. You can get up and walk around on a train. Your carbon emissions are considerably less. And they're all things that we, discussing with them about creating these tournaments and letting people know sustainable ways to get to these tournaments and competitions and things like that. So there's all different things that we can actually provide these people with and organisations with.
Yeah, exactly. And it's interesting because obviously, the growth of kind of that live service, that in-game purchasing, be that like skins or FIFA Ultimate Team purchases, it's a massive industry, and it's from a business perspective, it's a huge part of the gaming sector. But yeah, I think it's the thing that's refreshing. I don't think too many people have really thought about actually the ability to create positive partnerships out of the back of it, and also kind of in what you guys are trying to achieve. Think more as well as providing value to their consumers as well as the value of the in-game. It's also stuff that they can actively seek value and attain value from in their external lives. And that's the cool part, right? The industry is just evolving at such a pace. I think it's just trying to find out what these businesses are doing and kind of create those partnerships to make sure they evolve and maintain the growth in a sustainable fashion.
Exactly. I think, everyone's aiming for, 2030 to keep it at 1.5, keep 1.5 alive and that sort of thing. But you're exactly right. By creating partnerships, we can achieve those goals a lot quicker. And I think, if the word gets spread, by several people like ourselves and, you and everyone else, all these gaming industry organisations, it's a small area compared to other sectors, but it is a sector, the gaming sector, that is really taking the bull by the horns and actually doing something proactive. They're having green game jams. There's Playing for the Planet, who are, promoting green actions through their games. So, and creating partnerships to achieve these goals is exactly where we need to go.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess that's like a nice place to finish, because ultimately where we go now is deciding upon the partnerships that we create and becoming those kind of looking towards building long-term legacies, really, and kind of building more value and impact for people, both in games and externally as well. So it's been a great pleasure to have you on, and thank you so much for your time. It's been awesome.
I really appreciate it, Peter. Pleasure seeing you again.
Thank you for listening to the Purpose Made podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to Purpose Made wherever you normally get your podcasts to hear the latest news and views. You can also find and follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn and Twitter, or contact Peter directly to connect, inquire about Purpose Made, or request to be featured on the podcast. We look forward to welcoming you back soon for another episode.